There is one tool that is an absolute must-have along your spiritual awakening process. Any ancient system started with this requirement, and it is required of any student, any teacher at any level. And any ancient system started with telling the truth. Sounds easy, but I guarantee you, you lie in more ways than you think. Let's get into it. We're gonna look at sneaky lies, and then we're gonna walk through a little bit of a process, how to start tracking this for yourself and observe what is going on. To open up this class today, we've got a quick quote. To speak the truth is the most difficult thing in the world. To speak the truth, one must know what the truth is and what a lie is. And first of all, in oneself. And that would be none other than the Gurdjieff. Step one. So as a student, this is your first responsibility. And when I started working with this tool was a long time ago, but the way to position it for myself that really drove this home was to say, I need to be 110% honest, because the thing that starts to happen is that, especially in American English, we have a lot of small talk. Hey, how are you doing this morning? Oh, good. And you? Are you good? Are you all right? Or are things kind of chaotic? Are you stressed out? Are you worried about something? Now, this seems super silly at first, but what's your real achievement with your spiritual journey that you're gonna go on? Are you handling silly little meaningless problems? Or are you gonna have to step up and confront deeper truths that are residing within yourself? Take a minute to consider that, because as you look at this exercise of understanding that in the day-to-day life, of even just saying good morning, hello, how are you lying? Is there a disconnect from your truth that you're not speaking or not speaking to accurately? This doesn't mean we have to be so open and vulnerable and share everything in the world, but is there a way to say and communicate good morning more accurately? Because here's what's happening. Every time we step into telling a little lie in those silly areas of your day, even in just a salutation, a good morning, we're creating subconscious and unconscious habits. That it's okay to tell these little lies. It's okay to not tell 100% of the truth. 80% is just fine. It's more comfortable that way. I don't have to answer as many questions that way. Maybe you don't even have to be as creative as you can be. There's ways to tell the truth and still be very, very accurate that don't require you exposing the nitty-gritty details of everyday life that, yeah, true, might make people uncomfortable. So your first step in working with this process is to notice these little seemingly silly instances where you might not be telling 110% of the truth. And you can also work with this by asking, like, what was my goal with that? Why did I just tell that little automatic response? Good morning is a pretty good example too, because you got some social norms, right? It's just like this instinctive, I'm good. And then you might get into the deeper part of your day. But point is, why did we go into even just a little bit of a lie? And then what is a way that we could have remained a little more truthful? So comfort is no test of truth. On the contrary, truth is often far from being comfortable. That's Swami Vivekananda. So here in step 2, what you are going to do along this getting organized in your spiritual awakening is a 3-day truth audit. Take 3 days to notice throughout all of your conversation points, maybe even with some of the thoughts that you have internally, how close to 100% of the truth are you allowing in those moments of your day. And I would imagine what you're gonna find is that you're not intentionally trying to deceive anybody. You might be following some social norms, or just might be something that you never really stopped to consider. Is there any value in me responding in a more truthful way, even in those little good morning moments? So day 1, you're gonna take that day to just notice how you're responding to things, how you're thinking about things. Sometimes in our own mind, it's really easy to say like, oh, this always happens. That's a common one. Watch out for the words always and never. Are we just using social norm language? Oh, this always happens. Does it really always happen? So just notice on day 1, and then day 2, we can step into taking some notes of when and why it happens. Is it happening more just with maybe coworkers or with family? Does it happen more in an instant of just a casual good morning, or when somebody's trying to ask you more details about what's going on in your life? And then on day 3, we can work with both of those inputs and look at how you can become more truthful in those areas. Maybe we expand our language some. Maybe we take a pause before we respond to somebody instead of just the, oh, good and you, automatic setting that we've got for some of those more common and frequent ways of interacting and socializing with one another. All right, so this does have a workbook to walk you through certain questions, and so you can record what's going on for you. On step 3, there's some really good prompts for answering yes or no and providing yourself some more details. There's also a commitment and declaration here. This needs to become a non-negotiable standard for you throughout your spiritual practice and journey. There is not a spiritual system or teacher who can help you if you are not willing to tell 110% of the truth, even if it is uncomfortable or maybe puts you in a little bit of disfavor. It does not matter. A spiritual system requires integrity to get results that stand in integrity. And when something stands in integrity, it has longevity. The speed at which you heal is equivalent to how much truth you can accept emotionally in your heart. This is an unknown quote from some more of the modern somatic healing principles, but the idea is spiritual tools and a spiritual awakening often happens at a point in our life where we really want to make a change, and that's going to require some different level of healing or transformation. And so what you are willing to confront in truth, even if it is a personal and emotional truth, will be a requirement of you, no matter what lineage or mentor you decide to work with. So let's pull that all together here toward the end so that you know how to go about investigating this for yourself. There's a lot of times we can lie even kind of automatically with these social norm responses in our day-to-day. You are going to take your first day to just look and observe and notice those. And then in day 2, you're going to pay attention to the different patterns. And when you notice these more automatic or less truthful responses, albeit smaller white lies, that's all right. We're noticing the pattern here so that you can note the when and where and whys. Then in day 3, we're really doing a reflection to start to get curious about how can I be more truthful in my everyday responses, even these little seemingly silly ones, because I would really like to start to break this pattern so that when I invest in deeper work with both my time, my energy, and my money, that I know I've taken care of the smaller types of environments of lying within me, so that when I apply 110% truth into this deeper spiritual work, I know I'm going to get a deeper result. It's going to have some longevity with it. That's what we're really after. A teacher is never a giver of truth. He is a guide, a pointer to the truth that each student must discover for himself. And that is Bruce Lee on that one. And what does this mean? It wraps us back up to the beginning of this video where I pointed out that a teacher, therapist, anything of that nature, a mentor or a guide, even a system, if you're using a laid out guidebook, for example, it is not gonna work for you unless you are 110% honest. So as you're going through and looking at these spiritual systems, at these mentors and guides, at these healers that you are interested in working with, you need to make sure that you are going to be comfortable within the environments they have created, within the tools that they have available, within the way that they approach work, that you can tell 110% of the truth in some way, so that your work, your spiritual work and investment stays in integrity. Here at Sovereign Reign, if you're considering working with me, truth is actually one of my core pillars as my personal practice, but as my school's teachings as well. So if you are looking for a way to reach this level of radical truth in your life, Sovereign Reign is designed around this as one of the core principles that gets incorporated in the teachings that are brought forward. The other two are curiosity and possibility, and we'll get into those in some later discussions and teachings. But for this 7-part series here, truth is your primary power as a student. It is a requirement of you, even as a teacher, because a teacher should always be learning as well. So no matter where you go, whatever level you have, this is a skill you want to start to practice and master for yourself now. You shouldn't have to pay somebody to show you these easier low-hanging fruits of the everyday social norms and ways to work with truth and start getting yourself really organized and situated for this deeper level of work. In the next video, we are gonna go through a spiritual system audit. In addition to mentors, you can get burned by mentors, I know, but you can also get burned by systems. When you're just out seeking information and looking to understand yourself, you might come across a lot of information online and start to digest and use that for yourself. But what I have seen happen is that people will find a lot of harm sometimes in what they come across in these different personality types and profiles. There's a way to work with this. This isn't where you stop. This is where you take a deep breath and you take one more step forward to learn how to really start digesting and integrating spiritual knowledge into your life, and in using some reasoning to continue to move forward with the spiritual teachings that have been preserved for you over thousands of years. We'll leave it there for this video, but the next one is an extremely useful tool that once you start to see how to integrate it into your practice, into your everyday, you're gonna get some really good results and not get stuck in certain places so often. All right, so that's next week's video, the spiritual systems audit. This entire 7-part series, they all have workbooks. You are in workbook 3 right now with your primary power of telling the truth. But you can head back to workbooks 2 on magnetic mentors and 1 on the 3 crucial steps of how to get this whole wheel spinning in your favor. And then next week with our spiritual system audit. Welcome in, I'm glad you're here. Grab your workbook wherever that is linked at, and I will see you in the next one. Good luck telling the truth. I'm excited. Let me know how it comes out in the comments.